So I always like to start with the assessing the planetary movement. So in fact, previously in previous years, I don't look into the Western astrology part, okay, when I assess the energy of the year and or the month and so on. But it was last year where I start to compare, I would say, more onto experience and also to understand how the Western astrology, the shift in that energy, correlate with the Chinese metaphysics. So I do find a correlation, and it does impact. And from the Western astrology, it does give me a different perspective of things. Like some things that I can't read directly from the Chinese metaphysics portion, but it's the insight that I could get from the Western astrology. So that's why now you see I've been in, I would say, including the planetary movement as well from the Western side, to give that, to introduce another layer to help us understand and feel the energy more. Okay. So for this month, October, yeah, the one thing which I see is we have a few planets which is returning back to a direct motion. So the previous months I've been talking about, you know, Saturn, Jupiter is on a retrograde, and then the Pluto in retrograde, and so on, and that kind of shake the energy a bit, and it actually gives us time to reassess where we are, our position, to look back at the things that we have been doing, whether is it still serving us, to let go of our past and so on. But this month in October, we have the 3 big planets going back and resuming its full function, which can bring a rather up and down kind of energy. Okay. So we start with 6 October, which is a few days from now, yeah? So 6 October, Pluto goes back to a direct motion. So that's when Pluto retrograde stops. So Pluto has been in retrograde since April, and when Pluto was in retrograde, right, it actually helped us or allow us to deal with our fears, our things that has been hampering our success, okay, things that have been holding us back. And it also supports transformation. But when it comes 6 October, Pluto will assume its original function, which means it's like it's an energy that really pushes you forward. So if you have not discovered your blockage in life, and if you don't know how you're going to deal with it, or at least have an action plan to deal with, to overcome your fears, to move out, and also to ramp up your transformation, you still have a few days to do that. Okay, and why is this important? It's because in October, the shift of energy in both the Western astrology and also the Chinese metaphysics perspective, it is going to put us to the test. Okay. Then next, we have the Saturn. The Saturn also will be resuming its full function. That means the retrograde will end, and that is going to be somewhere around 11 October. So when Saturn is moving backward, that means in retrograde, it allows us to do reflection and also to review our structure, okay, our rules, our limiting beliefs, right? So when Saturn goes back into full function, it's like it will propel, okay, it will propel and accelerate an energy. So then you'll feel like you've got no more time to think. Okay, everything just suddenly is like, it's like the floodgate is open. All right. So if you have not done that reflection, if you have not done that review on yourself to check what are these beliefs and thoughts that is kind of stopping you or kind of disturbing you at the moment, you still have time to do so, right? So So ask yourself, if you have done a reflection on your past action, have you identified what works for you and what doesn't work? Because this is the time where we need to flush out the garbage. Okay, flush out the garbage before Satan comes back into full function, right? Then next on 16 October, 16 October, this is, I see this as rather a strong energy where we have the sun squaring the Pluto. And this is the time where we will somehow test our resilience, okay? Our consistency level in terms of our changes. Have we changed, or can we hold on to the change, to the new us? So it's like, now we are going back. Now the business, the market is open up, and it makes us feel that, oh, things are going back to normal. But it is going to be a new normal. In the past 12 months or so, we have been in a lockdown, in a COVID, okay, and things have kind of slowed down a lot for us. And we have actually changed along the way. And the way people do business have changed, the way we think have changed, the way we function have changed, and we may not be aware of all these subtle changes the last 12 months that are brought onto us, right? So this is a time where we actually need to look back, okay, like pick back, wake ourselves up. How have we changed? How have we evolved in this pandemic? And also, how can we bring this evolution forward? What is it that we want to hold on, which we say, okay, this change is good for me, okay, and I want to bring this forward. But how? We need to be consistent. So this is a time like between now to 15 October, I would say, seriously consider, okay? Because if we fall back into our old patterns and also graciously fall back into the past, well, okay, never mind lah, we wait for things to happen for us. This is where you feel that, you know, the pressure and the push coming in, and it will amplify, and this can very quickly pull us down into a downward spiral. All right, so make use of the time between now till 15 October to anchor that change that we've been working on in the past months. So when it comes 18 October, and it's just 2 days away from the sun squaring Pluto, we have Jupiter and Mercury returning to its full function. So Jupiter has been in retrograde. It's like it's been in, out, and the last retrograde was in June until now. So when Jupiter goes into retrograde, it may bring some kind of a sense of problem, difficulty, and we feel stress and so on. But actually what it suggests is for us to do a reality check, okay? To reassess is like, are we still doing the right thing that serve our purpose now in the present? Because, and also to assess our desire, as we often mix up our desire and also our needs. When I talk about needs, is survival needs, right? What you need to survive. And we have this tendency to put a lot of focus and effort, okay, in going after our desire, while we neglected what we actually need as our basic needs. Okay, so when it comes month end and then we suddenly feel, oh shit, I have bills coming and I don't have enough money to pay the bills, that's when we all go panic, right? How many of you resonate with that? Like when the month end comes, then we start to panic, right? So this is the effect of Jupiter, because it allows us to do a reality check. Then for Mercury also on 18 October, now is in retrograde, right? And the retrograde is short, just like last month until now. When Mercury goes into retrograde, it actually allows us to finish up, or I would say solve our lingering problem. You know, those problems that we have swept under the carpet and hoping not to not to look at it anymore and hoping to have forgotten about it, or things that we write on paper and we burn it and hoping to forget about it. So in the last month, in September, when Mercury is on retrograde, it actually gives us this period, okay, for us to acknowledge and solve the issues. Because some issues is like, although we wish we have forgotten about it and we don't want to talk about it, but it will still crop up if it's unresolved. So on 18 October, while the energy on this day where these two planets, like it goes back and resume its function, it can put us in a place where we can feel overboard, because all of a sudden it's like the restriction is lifted from us. So ask yourself, what have you learned between June and now, especially in the pandemic? It's like, have we done our reflection? The things that we want and the goals that we want to achieve, is it still realistic in the given economic condition, okay, or in the given state that we are in now, in the new norm? Okay, so this is something that we should look at. And the next thing would be, have we come in terms with ourselves? That means, have we agreed with ourselves as in how do we move forward? What are the things that, what are the baggage that we need to let go? Okay, and also what are the qualities and values that we want to bring forward? Okay, so we still have 2 weeks to sort this out. Okay, so next we have this is a period, right, between 20th to 25th of October. So there is a few movement there between the Moon, Mars, and Pluto. So during this period, it gives us that sense of assertiveness and a drive, okay, a drive forward to reach our goal. But at the same time, it can also bring like this power struggle and confrontation. Okay, that is because it's that fight between our desire to gain control over other people or other situation. So at some point or so, the energy during this period, it may also throw us into a dreamy disposition. That is like when we start to comfort ourselves, when we start to find excuses, okay, to tell ourselves, like, I would say it's more on giving ourselves some reason in inverted commas that we are okay, right? That is what I mean by the disposition. So in summary, for October, it does suggest that the energy may leave us feeling like we are one step forward, but at the same time, we are taking 2 steps back. So it's also a signal for October that we need to be consistent in order to achieve sustainable success.